All right, so my guest was born and raised in Dallas, Texas. She studied early childhood education at UT Arlington. Then she went on to get her master's degree at DBU in counseling. She currently works as an account executive, and she has often said that she would be lost without her faith. She believes that her faith allowed her to get to where she is now. And her parents are from Eritrea in East Africa, but they came to the States to create a better opportunity for her and her siblings. She's out here doing big things, and I'm sure she's making her parents proud. She is a beautiful soul, and she's one of my favorite pretty girls rocking 20 pearls. I would like to introduce the amazing Miriam Zehaie. How you doing?
Thanks. Thanks for letting me know. You're a sweetheart.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. I'm glad. First of all, I just want to say thank you for even considering me. I know this is a big thing, and I know you're looking for specific people. So just the fact that you even thought of me, I really do appreciate that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I was like, I have to get Miriam on here. I was like, I feel like you're a person who you have so many layers that a lot of people don't get to know. Like being a pretty girl, people try to put that on you like you don't have other things going for you. And I think that's whack. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm like she's more than just a face, y'all. Like she do stuff
Well,
out
thank you
here.
for that.
That's
But I do
crazy.
appreciate that. Yes, there are a lot of different things about me, different aspects. So,
Yeah. How has quarantine been for you?
um, well, at first it was kind of rough because I'm an extrovert. So I loved going into my office, being with
Hmm.
all my work friends and just like doing stuff. But as weeks went by, to be honest, like I've accepted it and I've liked it. And honestly, like it's allowed me to even like pick up new hobbies. I
Yeah.
always like to read, but now I've been allowed to like get to my books that I haven't given a chance to. And I even joined a book club too. So
Oh, good,
yeah, it's
good.
allowed me to pick up new habits. So I can say it's been all right. What about you?
It's been good. I'm an introvert with extrovert tendencies.
Okay.
So I can be social when I need to be, but I'm a Cancer, so we like to be at the house. So it's all good with me. And I've used this time to basically, of course, try to build my businesses up. And I don't know if I told you, but I'm going to be releasing another book in the fall.
Oh,
I lost two books when my computer crashed, so I had to rewrite those books.
oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But I'm
I
looking
wrote it.
forward to that. Good for you.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna have to, as soon as it drops, I'm gonna have to pick it up.
Yes, ma'am. I wrote it better this time, so I think
Oh,
God did that on purpose. That's so crazy. So, as I mentioned in the intro, your parents moved here to Texas,
mm-hmm.
and I'm sure that was a transition for your parents just being in this space and how everything is here. How was it growing up, like in the household, being here?
Well, it was obviously very different as far as like, and I hate to say it, but even comparing yourself to people at school, you
Yeah.
know, my parents, their English wasn't up to par as other parents. And so growing up in a house like that, it was a little challenging, as far as like having my parents help me with homework, whereas
Mm-hmm.
other kids that came easily to. But my parents did try, and it really helped that even though we're first generation, my sister, I have an older one. And so since she was in school before me, she was able to help me. And so
Yeah.
it was overall a little bit challenging. And you realize when you have a parent who is not born in the United States and has that, has that kind of leg up, I guess. And I wouldn't say a leg up because we all struggle with so many different things, even as far as literacy. But I had to be that voice for my parents.
Yeah.
So it's like if they had documents that they had to fill out, like I had to read it to them. I had to translate some things. So it was just a little bit different. Sometimes it was like playing kid, but then also translator.
Yeah, but that best stuff I can't even talk. That definitely made you grow up faster, but it equipped you like for life after.
It did. It did. And I saw the way my parents were so resilient.
Hmm.
And that was something like, I'm like, if they can do this, if they can come here with nothing,
Yeah,
then I like that was a big motivator to me because I was like, they sacrificed so much.
yeah,
So that's how I kind of grew up, is that I always realized like I can't fail. I can't fail. I got to keep going no matter what. So that I do appreciate them a lot for.
yeah. So you used it as motivation versus becoming a victim.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
beautiful. Yeah, it's all about perspective. You know, most people, they'll try to just be the victim and say, well, my life is just horrible because it's not like everybody else's. But in reality, you being different helps you because, I mean, it helped you develop your identity.
It did. It did. So I'm always grateful for my parents and teaching me that, I will say.
What are some of your favorite things about your culture?
The food. I'm
Y'all
going to
food
start off
looks
with
great.
that.
It looks
The
great.
food. Yes. I mean, I've never met anybody who doesn't like the food. And it's so spicy, but definitely the food. I like the music, the dance. But I'm going to say that one of the things that I love the most is, and I've realized this when everybody immigrated to the United States,
Uh-huh.
they have always remained close. And so, anyways, we ended up going to Oakland at the beginning of the year, or at the beginning of this year with my parents. And it was just, I love the cohesiveness of our culture. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter where you are in the United States. Like when we were in Oakland, there was just an immediate connection, even though I didn't meet any of these people before.
Right.
Or my mom and dad ran into people that they haven't seen in years since back in Africa, but it was just an immediate click, an immediate conversation. It's like no time had passed. So that's one thing I do love, is that we're just very cohesive. We come together, let it be a celebration or death or no matter, it's like you're never alone.
That's beautiful. We
Yeah.
need more of that now.
You know what? I will say I'm very happy about, it's kind of bittersweet, but since everything that's been going on, one thing I will notice, and I've seen, and it's kind of been a change and I love it, is that I feel like even like Black people in the US have become closer and
True.
tight. And it's not like now it was crazy because I was at the airport the other day and I saw this girl and she was just standing there and it's like my instinct was, hey, I'm about to leave. Like, do you want my seat? Just like that.
Yeah.
A random, it wasn't even a big deal of kindness, but a random act just because I'm like, okay, I connect with you already, even though I don't know you.
Right.
So, but I'm seeing that and I'm glad that it's changing.
I feel like it is too. Honestly, I mean, with all the stuff that's happening, you would think that people will want to come together.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope that it's not like a trend. I hope, or a fad. I hope that it's something that's like long lasting, because this is gonna be a long journey.
No, I agree with you. I hope it's not a trend either, because there's so much power in numbers, regardless of your race or whatever the case is. And so, especially with Black people and oppression that we've dealt with, if we're together, we can like literally make a movement. And so it's going on now. And obviously we have allies too. So, but I've seen it and I hope it stays. I agree with you. I hope it stays.
I got love for the allies.
Yes, me too. I love it. It was so good. I went to the protest. I wouldn't advise it to everybody because COVID is still out there.
Yeah.
Really. But it was nice to see so many different people out there when I went. I was like, this is beautiful.
Absolutely. Well, I know that I used to always call UTA the International School of Students.
Yeah.
We had all kinds of people at our school. Like you can run into Middle Eastern people, you can run to like all kinds of people. So how was your experience at UTA?
You know, I loved my time at UTA. My experience was honestly it had a lot to do with the fact of me being in different organizations. So that's the experience that I remember. It's funny because I don't even really remember too much of the academic side.
Yeah,
just
true.
So invested in the student life.
Mm-hmm.
But it's funny you brought that up. So I was talking to someone about like HBCUs and I wanted to go to one. But then part of me also, I'm so grateful for UTA and the experience that I had, because just because of that reason, the fact that there's so many different people, it made me come out of my shell and interact with people that I would normally not interact with.
Absolutely.
When I came from high school, and to be very honest, you know, I was in regular classes and then I had pre-AP classes. But I always remained tight with the people that looked like me, sounded like me, and acted like me. But when I went to UTA, And I think it was just the culture of the university. It allowed me to spread out and meet people. So like my experience was great. Diversity got me out of my shell, met different people, met lifelong friends.
Yeah.
So it was great.
Now, going into UTA, what kind of process did you go through trying to figure out what you want to study? Like how did you choose your major?
So funny, I started off as undeclared.
Okay.
My friend, yeah, people would have never, some people don't even know, even my closest friends, but I did. I did not know what I wanted to do. And so deciding what I wanted to do, I took a lot of like strength tests and like career assessments and like what I would want to do.
Uh-huh.
So I'd use that. I compiled that data, but then also my passion. So I always loved kids and I know I wanted to do something that dealt with kids. So
Yeah.
my passion is what drove me to what I wanted to study.
Okay. Okay. So, about how old were you when you realized that though? Was it just when you got to college or just being exposed? Like, how old were you? Do you remember?
Yeah, actually, I wanted to be a teacher since as little as I could remember. And it was in high school when I did this co-op program, I believe. I don't know what the actual word was, but we would do student teaching once a week. And so that had always been in the back of my mind. So
That's
when it
good.
came down to choose something, that's why it wasn't so hard. But I also did face a lot of challenges that came in the way as far as deciding what I wanted to do because, you know, sometimes like my parents came from Africa. So when they're like, are you going to be a doctor? Are you going to be a lawyer? Are you going to be an engineer? And I'm like,
Right.
I don't want to do that.
That's true.
Yeah. So I just went with what I felt since I was a child. I wanted to teach.
That's so good to say because a lot of people feel that pressure to be whatever their parents wants them to be. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, you have to go through the process of making that happen. So you need to choose something you love versus the money. Like
100%. And that's one of those things that I always try to tell young people today is yes, do whatever to make your parents proud, but
yeah,
make yourself happy and proud too.
yeah.
And I'm just being very honest because your parents aren't going to be the ones showing up to work every day.
Nope. Our class. Let's just be real.
Exactly. So you got to do what's going to be of interest to you. And then if it changes, like with me, if it changes, allow it to be your change, not someone else's, you
Right.
know? And I would also say get a degree that holds some sort of value too, because I think that's another mistake that I've seen my friends made or anything. It's like coming out with a degree that can't, like, it's really crazy the way degrees work.
Yeah, it's true. I was just about to ask you what are the three things you would tell somebody, tell a student to focus on in school, but you gave us two already.
What, so I don't repeat them. I said,
You said choose a degree that has some value
mhm.
and choose what benefits you as well, like that makes you happy.
So something else I would say is have a plan.
Yes.
Have a plan, and that can tie into so many things. Because I would also tell a young adult going into college to set attainable goals, but I feel like that's also a part of a plan. But having a plan,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like a lot of times people come into college and there really is no plan.
Mm-mm.
Some people don't finish till the end, some people do, some people take longer. And those are all, here's my thing, at the end of the day, if you get to the finish line, it doesn't matter how you get to the finish line, just get there.
Right. Just get there.
Just get there. But at the same time, I think that sometimes we can get off track in a negative way. So we always just have to remember there's a plan to this, like there's an end goal, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, because college is a whole brand new chapter in your life.
Yeah, it's the place where you learn, where you kind of grow into an adult. Like you're going to be challenged. Everything you believe will be challenged. Well,
Yes.
seriously, what would you say was your biggest challenge?
In college,
Mm-hmm.
saying no.
Saying that's a
And
good
I think
one.
something that, you know, we struggle even after college. I mean,
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
it's something in life, you know, and it comes, in so many different forms or in different scenarios. It could be something as simple as someone saying they want to study with you, but you study best alone.
Yes.
It's okay to say no.
No.
Like, or if it's on the party end, because we all know college is social. If
We
you
had
know
fun.
I know, work hard and play harder. People who know me know I love to play hard, but I
Yeah.
work hard too.
Yeah.
So if you know there's a party, say no. That's the thing, is people are so scared to say no, but I realize saying no is the best thing that you can do for yourself.
Yes.
And you just have to do it, because if you are not good for yourself, you are not going to be good for anybody. And that's serious.
Absolutely. Saying no is important. Like, it's setting boundaries. I think
Mhm.
a lot of people think being disciplined is like restricting you, but it's really giving you freedom, because, it unlocks all that hidden talent and power that you have. And it also keeps you focused on what you need to attain.
Yeah.
So
And it's
discipline
something
is great.
that was a challenge. That was a major challenge for me,
Yeah.
but that's what I could, if I could go back, I would definitely have said no to some things.
Yeah. I agree with that, because I felt like I said yes to a lot of things that I shouldn't have to. So
We all do. We're still learning. I'm still learning now, even as an adult. So
yeah, I feel like it never changes though. Like, we're gonna always be students. Even though we're not inside of the school structure, we're still
uh-huh.
students, and we're learning about life. So
Yep.
one of the biggest things I feel that we struggle with in life is managing money. Um, we're trying to keep up with the Joneses, or just trying to be something that we're not. So how has that transition been for you, like after college, life after
Oh my gosh. I mean, I love this topic because
college?
after college, you're excited, you go into your job, but you have all the student loan debt.
Whew,
Yeah.
yeesh. Yeah,
So
you
the
do.
experience out of college was not what I expected. I thought I was going to start my teaching job, make money, and I was going to be set. I'm
Yeah,
not joking. I'd probably say the hardest time was when I was out of college,
yeah.
immediately following years. That was the toughest time for me. Um, and I had to learn that I had to make sacrifices. So
Mhm,
that meant I'm good. I'm in a place, thank God, where I feel comfortable now.
mhm,
But at the time, I would see people travel. Nope, can't do that. Want to get this nice watch? Nope, can't do that.
mhm.
Because that at that time, you got to learn also to say no with that, and you have to prioritize. And
True.
so, that experience was very challenging for me afterwards, because there's so many things that I wanted to do, but I couldn't. But I had to prioritize. So that, like, I bought my car right after college.
Mhm.
It wasn't the car like my parents got me before. So it was time to transition over and get a big girl car.
Yeah.
So that was pretty much my experience. And then also focusing on my credit score, because that is a big part of everything you do. And I wish back in the day I knew some things, because I wouldn't have let, like, my emergency bill go, like, or,
Mhm.
you think like, oh, I'm not going to do it. It's not going to go away. They're just going
Right.
to put it on your credit. So, after college, that was one thing I was doing too, is like, I got to build up my credit, because it's
Yeah.
everything. You want to get an apartment, you want to get a house, all of those things. So
Yeah.
it just required a lot of prioritizing.
What would you say is something that the young adults can do now to start that process of like thinking like that versus just letting things just go?
Number one, do not take out all of the student loans.
Please. Whew.
Do not do that. That is number one, because you're gonna get excited about the refund check, but you have to pay all of that back.
With interest.
Yes, like,
Yes.
that would be number one. And two, it's my second and last thing, because I experienced it, was credit cards. Don't get credit cards unless, if just don't. I think that's the best thing. Or if you actually are going to use it wisely, because I know in undergrad, that's one thing that I did. And again, you have to pay that off.
Yeah. It's
So
just extra debt.
I probably, those are the two things that I would
Yeah.
recommend. Do not do that.
Yeah. Well, I want to say congratulations to you because you paid off your student loans.
Well, I paid off Sally Mae.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that, but there's still, I have a little floating around a nail net. So.
Okay, well, I hope to be like you one day. I did pretty good with undergrad, but when I went to grad school, that's where I took the hit because yeah, they wasn't trying to give me very much. So
Yeah,
um
I didn't realize that they don't even give you grants in grad school.
I looked up and got one my second term because I guess because of my grades or something, but they gave me a little something, but I was like, I still gotta pay the rest.
Yeah, grad school is very, very expensive.
Hmm. Do you
But
think, oh sorry, go ahead.
oh no, I was just gonna say, but I never regret it. I always say it's part of your story.
Yeah. Because a lot of times I think back on me going to school in the first place, I was like, obviously God wants me to be an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's very clear to me. I thought when I got out of college that I was going to be working on a career job for 5 years or so to
Mm-hmm.
pay off all my loans and stuff. And then I was going to be able to go full-time entrepreneur, right? Didn't happen. I didn't get an interview or like I have not had a real professional job. I would say I haven't had that yet. And I'm 33 today. Like I have never had a professional job. But I think it's interesting, like going through that process because with all the, the loops and everything, I feel like I'm stronger. Like I know myself more now going through all of that. So
I admire that. I was talking to my sister the other day about people like me who stay at this company or stay at this teaching role. And I was telling her, I'm comfortable, I'm content, but I never took a risk. So people like y'all take a risk. And I love that. Like I was even telling my sister opening her own law firm, that was a risk she took. And
amazing.
she wouldn't have realized her maximum potential if she would have just stayed complacent as a lawyer in someone else's firm.
Yeah,
So
that's
I admire
amazing.
that. That's great that you've been able to do that. Like it's part of your story too.
Yeah, it definitely is. I'm grateful and I feel like I embrace my gifts more now. Before I didn't realize they were really gifts, you know? So I had to go through that process of like, I guess refining my character and making sure I understood what the purpose of these gifts were.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's the path God has me on right now. So
Yes, I love that. And you know what? I'm glad you said that word gifts because I'm also like I was reading something in a Bible plan, and it was talking about using your gifts. And
hmm
so I know that sometimes younger people don't realize the gifts and talents that they have.
yeah,
But I would also want to share with anybody who's listening to this that if you are a young adult, pay attention to the gifts and talents that you have because even though you're interested in something, sometimes you excel so much because of the gifts and talents that you have. So look at everything before you make a major, make a career choice, any of that stuff, because you don't realize if you don't utilize that, it's almost like it goes to waste.
yeah. Or you lose it.
Yeah, yes, you do.
Yeah.
Very, very true. You will lose it because you're not practicing it.
The good thing about gifts is the fact that they translate. So you can use some of the tools and tricks that you learned here over here in a new space.
Mm-hmm.
Like your gifts can transfer to different, sectors.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I think that's important to say. So you shouldn't be afraid to switch up or try something different.
I agree with that. You have to take risks. Like you have to.
Yeah, calculated though. Calculated.
100%. Exactly. Yeah, very calculated. Don't just start hopping around. But I definitely agree with that because sometimes you just never know until you put yourself in a different position or a different scenario and see how you're going to excel in that.
It's true. Yeah, and you know all about that because you switched from education to a whole new career.
Yes, I moved from that to sales, and that journey was very hard.
Yeah.
Very hard. Because, like I said, when you're 18, even though you might know what you want to do, throughout your adulthood and life, you're constantly evolving.
Yeah.
And that's just, and for me, my passion was teaching.
Mm-hmm.
And so the passion was there, but it honestly kind of boiled down also to my gifts and my talents.
Mm-hmm.
So not a lot of people know this, but when I was at UTA, my 4th year, I wanted to change my major.
Oh, wow.
And it was because, so UTA really got me out of my shell. And so like being like Miss UTA and being forced to present to people, that like I realized like, okay, maybe I am good at public speaking. I
Mm-hmm.
enjoy doing this. I enjoy connecting with new and different people. And so that was something that I kind of just brushed to the side, even
Yeah.
though some of those skills were still there. Because when you're teaching, you are presenting. You're just,
Mm-hmm.
for me, it was presenting to younger kids.
Yeah.
But it did kind of feel like sometimes every day was almost the same. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
in sales, it's not. Uh,
Right.
so yeah, so that was definitely a journey for me. And it wasn't anything that I made a decision like very quickly. It was, I would definitely tell people who are looking to ever do that, or just in general, shadow people and network.
Yes.
Because I was lost. Like I did not know, I knew I didn't want to teach anymore, but I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Right.
Like part of me said sales, but what else is out there? You know?
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to shadow people in different roles. I shadowed people like in HR. I shadowed people who were in medical device
Wow.
sales. Yeah, I went to like a recruiter. I've networked and met people. And so it was finally a point where I was able to make a calculated decision to start applying for different sales positions. So, it happens. It
Yeah.
happens.
It definitely does. I mean, I feel like it's important that you're able to pivot whenever something shifts and you want to do something different. That's important. But the key thing she just said, y'all, is she did a whole process. She vetted it out first before she was just like, I'm switching today.
Mm-hmm.
Like it, I think with our youth, it's like they're so used to having so many options,
Mm-hmm.
especially with like social media and just like the internet world. Period. Like they're used to having options quick. So in their life, when they're making major decisions, they don't implement a process at all. Like I'm like,
Well, it's funny because I was reading an article on millennials, how they switch jobs so frequently, like versus
we
like,
do.
mhm. and, and I don't know what it is, but it's just like millennials and on, we're not scared to walk away from something if we don't like it. And so I will
Yeah.
say that as long as you come up with a plan to make moves, do it,
Yeah.
but give things a chance too,
Yeah. Definitely.
because not every job is perfect, y'all. You're
No.
going to work for people that you may butt heads with. You may work with people who may not treat you with respect or give you, the accolades that you deserve for your hard work. But
Yeah.
before walking off and leaving, always come up with a plan.
Yeah. And don't let other people determine how you view things either. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's important to have a good circle around you, support group, and have like-minded individuals in your circle. So I wanted to ask you, what are your 5 non-negotiables when it comes to relationships or friendships?
One is loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely say loyalty, and this all might kind of go hand in hand, but loyalty, respect, um, forgiving,
Mm-hmm.
openness, and then this might be a little controversial, but Christian.
Yeah.
And that's not a big deal because I have friends of different type, but the reason why I always say that is because, and it just comes with morals, but it could be any religion. I just know that I've found the older that I've gone and, I have Bible groups and things like that. So it just happens that my friends are that way,
Yeah.
but, not a non-negotiable, but a lot of the morals that were instilled in me were because of my upbringing in the
Yeah.
church. So forgiveness, all of those things kind of went hand in hand for me.
Yeah. Definitely. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Because
Yeah.
I feel like if we don't connect on that spiritual level, like foundation wise, we probably won't stand the test of time anyway.
No,
It's
no.
gonna
And
crumble.
I like to pray for my friends. So like I said, you don't have to be, but if you are, like we vibe on that
Yeah.
connection as well. Like I pray for all my friends, all my family. So
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes God places us in people's lives,
mhm.
like to like be that bridge to be like, look, you're gonna see the God in me, because
Yes.
we are. Sometimes they only see the God in us. Like we may be the only gods they see, you
Yeah.
know. So it's important for us to live a certain type of way so that they can see Him in us
Yeah,
and accept
absolutely.
Him for themselves. Would you say that your relationship with God and your family is what brings you balance in your life, or is that like a part of it? What would you say for that?
I would say 100% it's a part of it. Um, my life, so my parents absolutely, you know, like I said, they're a big part of my life. Even now, it's crazy. Like I've never left Dallas. They live 15 minutes away from me. I'm always popping in on them. So,
Hmm.
um, and my relationship with God is very important to me and does give me balance because, you know, like I told you, I would be lost without it. I don't
Yeah.
wake up every day chipper, ready to go. You know,
Right.
there's some days where I'm down. Like sometimes it might be for no reason.
Yeah.
Um, I'm stressed. And so I find that, and sometimes I see people fall into these low places, and that could be anybody. Like some people
Yeah.
turn to drugs, some people turn to, I don't know, self-destructive behavior, basically.
Yeah.
So that is what gives me balance because I know that that's just my power. So I pray for strength. Really, I pray for strength a lot when I'm in those times. And so that
Hmm.
does give me balance. And then of course, obviously I like to work out and that does help it a lot, but really that's the most thing that gives me balance. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
So, um, what would you say? How do you define success and happiness?
Ooh, that's very interesting because I have these talk conversations all the time. I think success is defined by you, like what makes you successful. I don't think the world should be the determining factor of success.
Absolutely.
So I think if your goals are met, then you're successful.
Hmm.
Um, that's why I say stay away from social media because people, and I even saw this article about success and people's happiness was based on what they're giving off, what they're showing, and it's keeping up with the Joneses. Like it
Yeah.
happens with all ages on Facebook. So, but I'll say no. Like as long as your goals are met, then you're successful. And happiness comes from within, and I've definitely learned that. That
Yes.
is my definition. It comes from within. It doesn't matter what kind of car I drive. It doesn't matter what place I live in. It doesn't matter what clothes I'm wearing. That stuff does not matter.
Right.
And the most happiest that I've been is when I realized it came from within, period.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. Like, you can even be, when you're down and out, being around with your friends, they might make you feel better. But at the end of the day, you have to sit alone by yourself and ask yourself, am I happy? And if
Right.
not, what is it that I'm lacking?
Yeah. Definitely. Would you would you say that purpose is a journey or a destination?
Is journey a purpose? Wait,
I
repeat
mean,
that.
sorry, would you say purpose is a journey or a destination?
I would say it's a journey.
Hmm.
Um, and I might be interpreting this just the way I am,
Hmm.
but I found that my purpose in life might be different depending on like where I'm at in life or
Yeah.
who I'm interacting with. My purpose as a person with this person might be different than it is for this person.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's, you know, even there, like I said, sometimes you're finding out like, hey, well, what's my purpose today? What's my purpose this year? Like, what's my purpose in life? And so if I was able to define it by one thing, then I would say it's a destination. But for me, I mean, I'm about to be 30, and so far I feel like it's been a journey.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to welcome you to the 30 Club.
Woo!
30, let me
Thank you.
tell you something. 30s are absolutely amazing. Today is actually my birthday.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. I think it's
Oh
so funny.
my gosh!
I said
I,
on call, huh?
huh?
What'd you say?
No, I said I didn't realize it. I haven't been like I slept in today and then I was reviewing your questions. I didn't even realize today was your birthday. Happy birthday.
No problem at all. Thank you. I call this my Jesus year since I'm turning 33. So
Right.
my Jesus year. But I think when people shift to their 30s, you're
Mm-hmm.
more self-reflective and
Mm-hmm.
self-aware of yourself. Like you're very self-aware. So I feel like once you reach that age, you kind of master the art of evaluating yourself and holding yourself accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Because you do take that time to think about, what did I do in my 20s to make my 30s? Like, what did I do in my 20s to make them that way?
Right.
So I will say this, you're going to thrive even more in your 30s because of the fact that you know who you are now and that you're going to add that element to it. You're going to be reflecting a lot.
I love that because, and you and I both know this, when women,
Mm-hmm.
when we're raised just whatever life we're supposed to have, it's supposed to be married, kids, and all of
Yes.
that. And then when you realize, okay, well, I'm about to be 30 and I don't have that, it might come later,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe it's not part of what I'm supposed to be doing anyway. So it has been, I'm not there yet. It's next month, but
Mm-hmm.
I've already been reflecting and
Yeah,
it's been positive and I like it. I like where I'm at.
that's good. That makes my heart happy that you're happy with where you are.
Yeah, thank you. I hope you are too. I mean, you seem
Oh
like
yeah.
you are.
Yeah, I'm
You working on
definitely,
your birthday.
look, I said that's the true mark of an entrepreneur, huh?
Yes, clearly. I was like, what? Well, I would say you should be out somewhere, but you really can't.
My friends definitely was like, "You working on your birthday?" I was like, "This is
Yeah,
nothing new.
you
I've been doing
are.
this my whole life, y'all. It's nothing new." Yeah, I definitely wanted to make sure I said that because it's gonna be great, and I know it is. I always tell people too, like, just because they think that you're supposed to be in a certain space, that
Uh-huh.
doesn't mean that that's where you're supposed to be.
No.
I tell my mom, I don't even know if I'm gonna have kids. I don't really care to have them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm good either way. So it's like whatever society places on you to be, you don't have to be that.
Amen to that. And that's why I'm like, do not let society define your happiness. Because if it was meant to be or if that was supposed to happen in your life, it would have. And some people have rushed it.
Yeah.
I always believe in, God has a greater plan for you than you have for yourself.
So true.
So there are some people who have forced things, and I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you force stuff and you don't allow it to just be God sent, sometimes it doesn't always work out that way. So I just realized like, this is where I'm at and this is what's meant for me. So
Yeah. Yeah. What advice would you give someone who's feeling that way? Like how do they get themselves back to, that centered space where it's just me and God?
I think everyone's different.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I would recommend or tell someone is to take a step back and be alone for a second.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easier said than done to tell people, because for me, I have to take a step back. I have to step away from everybody so that they're not in my ear. Focus on, I'll do a Bible plan
Yeah.
or I'll read something. And to me, that's how I would handle that. So I
Mm-hmm.
think they have to figure out, or even identifying and going back to, why do I feel this way?
Exactly.
You have to ask yourself, why is it that I feel this way? And then go back and even if you have to jot it down, like write down what makes you happy, because clearly you've lost sight of that and you're
Yeah.
starting to compare.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That's good.
and even one thing I would highly recommend is therapy. I know
Yes.
people, there's a stigma associated with that. And I know a lot of, especially Black people, do not go to therapy, or it's frowned upon, it's looked down upon. I love now that it's starting to shift,
Yeah, it
both
is.
men and women. And
Mm-hmm.
so whether you're going through something good or bad, you might not even have anything to say. I would recommend going to therapy.
Yeah. They'll help you work through it.
Mm-hmm. Because, it's one of those things, even though like, that's a great question you can ask me, but I don't know if what's going to work for me is going to work for somebody else. And sometimes, there's underlying reasons too.
Yeah, that's true. But returning back to sender is always good.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you have to.
Going back to God is always good because he can restore you like this.
Like that, literally, yes.
Yeah, I do a combination of what you just said, and I
Mm-hmm.
also am very intentional about how I start my morning.
Oh, that's good.
Like, I have to go through a whole process. This is why I wake up so early. So I can knock it out. But every morning I do my Bible study in the morning.
Okay.
And then after that, I read, it's on my wall right here, but I read my word of the week and my theme and my goals. And I basically ask myself, what do you want? What do you want out of life? Like, I have a notebook right here. It says, trust your gut. And
I
I put
that.
I read my whole little thing that I wrote. I wrote it at the beginning of the year, but I read it every day because that's a constant reminder of what I'm trying to do. Because being an entrepreneur is hard. And
finding structure, I bet.
Yeah, it's hard. It's just hard more because it's like it's not consistent. Like
Right.
your finances are never consistent. Your hours are never consistent. So for me to stay balanced, I have to implement plans so that I can stay focused. If that makes sense.
That's good though. I forgot the name of the book, but I was reading something and it was talking about having a good routine.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's like what helps people become successful in life. It was just like one of the aspects. So I love that you do that. I need to find some structure since quarantine. I mean, I'll do work, but it's like, it's been a little off lately. So I love that you're doing that.
You're not the only one though. Like, everybody has had that moment where they was just cold chilling. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, that first week and a half, I didn't do anything.
I know I had my family over.
Yeah.
I think my parents were here for several days. My brother just came from law school. So we were just chilling and it was almost like, what do we do next?
Mm-hmm. Everybody was chilling. I caught up on Netflix shows and then
oh yes, I was watching All American.
Yes. Then I had to like reel it in. I was like, Katrina, you have kingdom work to do, so you need to get it together.
I love it.
So that's what keeps me in check. I was like, this is a gift that I have to use, so that's what I plan on doing.
Thank you. I love that.
Thank you. Well, I got one more question for you.
Okay.
So if you knew then what you know now, would you change anything?
Would I change anything?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I would say really more so the financial things. And that's probably the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Is that's it. Because that's like the only, everything else I wouldn't change, but that's just the biggest thing. Like if I could tell that to anybody else who is like the whole don't take out student loans, everything's going to catch up to you.
Yeah.
And you might get to a point where you can't fix it. Yeah. I've seen people to where they can't fix it. So, luckily I lived, I learned, and I'm great. I'm blessed now, and I'm happy that I was able to handle all that stuff. But I would just tell young people that do not spend anything that you don't have.
Right. Learn from our lives, please. That's the whole point of us having these conversations, just to share our perspective and give the little gems that we do have, and hope God will continue to like bless everybody.
Yes.
Through everybody. But yeah. Well, I appreciate your time, man.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you so much for considering me and having me. And I want you to take the rest of the day off to celebrate. Okay?
I got one more episode to do and I'm gonna be done.
Okay, good. Okay, just checking.
Well, thank you so much, and I will talk to you later, ma'am.
All right, bye. Thank you.
Bye.